On today's show, which approach would you rather have in an all-star game format? Luka's, I just don't really care about this, or Kyrie's? Let's play some actual basketball. Which would you rather have? We'll talk about that and All-Star Weekend on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day. That's right, we're back 5 days a week. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, watch every day, and comment anything below. Let us know. I'm curious what people think about this. Which mentality would you rather have from a Mavericks player going into an all-star game, an exhibition type game like this? Luka's approach or Kyrie's approach? We'll explain the differences throughout the show. Joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com, the all-star stud, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I'm kind of sad that it's over, but I'm glad it's over at the same time. All-star weekend. Oh, let's go.
Appreciate the journey. Appreciate the journey.
At the time you're listening to this, Luka is flying to...
He's there already by the time you're listening to
this. To enjoy his, 3 days away from the war and all of that. But NBA All-Star Weekend, it's fun. I always enjoy it. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I enjoy it every year.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Got to go over to your house and we watched All-Star Saturday. We'll talk about All-Star Saturday at the end. We'll give our thoughts on that. We'll talk about the All-Star game itself and does it need to be fixed? Why was it so bad? All kinds of different reasons for that. We'll talk about Luka and Kyrie, obviously, throughout the game. But let's start here. So Luka Doncic just does not care about All-Star games. He just doesn't. There's lots of theories. He just doesn't care about these, right? He goes into this game. He's a starter, chosen by LeBron. He puts up 2 of 5 shots. One of them was a dunk. The other one was a layup, the shots that he made. Missed 3 threes. Gets 5 assists. I don't know how he got 5 assists. I didn't think he touched the ball enough to have 5 assists. And just scores 4 points. Like, he plays, 18, 19 minutes. Just kind of like walking up and down the court. Didn't really care. Didn't really seem like he's really like getting into it. And then, like, the complete opposite of what Tatum did, right? Tatum put up 31 shots, played 35 minutes, went all out, really wanted to get that MVP. Whereas Kyrie took more of that Tatum approach. Took 21 shots, played 28 minutes, 32 points, 15 assists for Kyrie in this game. He was dishing it out in that game. And so you have these two Mavs stars now. Which approach would you rather have a player take? Because as a fan, somebody like myself watching the game, I'm saying, I think I'd rather have him play like Kyrie because that game was kind of unwatchable at certain points, that All-Star game. And so I'd rather him play like Kyrie where at least you're trying. And Kyrie even talked about this before the game. He did his All-Star media day availability. And he mentioned I wish that guys would be more competitive in this game. I wish that we could actually play some basketball. I like to go compete and all that kind of stuff. And he did. He went out there and he actually competed and, tried at least and took 21 shots for his team. But, let's just start there. What do you think about the two approaches of these two guys?
Well, one, just the luxury of us being able to say, hey, let's talk about the two Dallas Mavericks in an All-Star game.
Love it.
That started in the All-Star game. It's just, I don't know, it still doesn't even feel weird. Who it has to feel weird for also? The actual organization who sends media, social, PR, everybody. They're like, hey, we've had one person that's gone to this thing for years.
Mavs Social just literally following Luka around with the camera all weekend, and now they got to split.
We got to split up and take double the people. And but no, I mean, yeah, from the fan perspective, like what I would want is, you want somebody to try, and that's why there was a portion of my daughter's birthday party was today at our house, princess party. Let's go. And
it was 16 or
shut up.
Don't. She's 3. She's 3.
She greeted you at the door the other night.
No, I was just making a joke.
But anyway, I was like, should I help clean up the party right now during like the middle part of the game, because no one cares about it until the fourth quarter, and then that's when you start caring. But yeah, you got to go with Kyrie's approach. Like, I want to see him try.
I can understand though if some people would have the other approach to it. The Luka, Jokic, who else was kind of.
Let me make it clear. I don't care. Like, it's not. We're not sitting here trying to do the like. Luka should try in the All-Star game. I don't care one bit. He could go out there and walk around for all I care. Just don't get hurt. That's all I care about.
He could take the Luka, Jokic, kind of even Giannis. He had that hand injury. He dunks one time, then he's out of the game. The approach where you're just like, I'm just out here to not get hurt, and I can understand why some fans would think that, and why some fans would rather. I'd rather him just not go all out. He's got that heel soreness. Like, we don't want him to aggravate it more. Just can we hit simulate? Can we hit simulate on the game and get him to his Mexico retreat? And that's where he's going right now. Luka wanted to do that too. It seems like, to elevate that foot, man. Elevate that foot and get ready for the last month and a half, 2 months of the season, basically.
Yeah, celebrate Jokic's birthday, which is probably becoming an All-Star Weekend tradition at this point for him. It's around there every year now, or now it has been. But no, I mean, that's Luka. I thought it was hilarious. If you watch the TNT or whatever the main broadcast was, they had Luka mic'd up during the game for a bit, like to where they were talking to him. Like they had like a legit headset like around in his ears, and they were sitting there talking to him during the game. And I'm like, all right, this is one of the worst options that you could do, because Luka's a lot of fun, but he's like out there, he's like trying to like talk and like run, jog. I'm like, all right, no, he ain't gonna do this.
No, it's not gonna go. This is not gonna go well. He's not the guy.
It was funny though. Luka's a blast, man.
But yeah, so that's the two approaches that these two Mavericks took, and I'm just. I don't know. Like, you wish more people took Kyrie's approach, that you just want to compete all the time, but then you get Luka's approach too, because he was hurt a little bit. And but this is not new to this year, right? We've seen Luka year in and year out, right? It wasn't Rising Stars. I feel like he didn't take very seriously his rookie year. And you had
this isn't a just this year thing.
No, this is not just.
And this will probably continue. Like, he's just like, dude, I'm gonna save my energy for playoffs.
Yeah, and like, he'll mess around. He really wanted that half court shot. What was that half court shot he took at the end of the first quarter or halftime? Yeah, he really wanted that to go in. Like, he loves stuff like that, but he just doesn't care about a game like this. And
what'd you think of the draft?
I kind of wonder if he doesn't care about a game like this, because he just didn't grow up necessarily watching this. He grew up, in European basketball and like seeing them play like this. And like, hey, the regular season is what I care about. I'm going out there like this instead of.
I bet he watched it.
I mean, I'm sure he watched some of it, but like the LeBrons, the Kyries, the Tatums, like they grow up watching these All-Star games and watching like guys, like it actually means more to them than it does, Luka
Anthony Edwards
Jokic.
Hasn't seen one that means anything, so
that's probably true.
What'd you think about the draft?
The draft I thought was the best part, right? Like, I thought the draft was the best part. You had Giannis and LeBron up there with the guys on the stage. I thought the reserves going first was kind of dumb. Like, just do it. Like,
Jaren Jackson Jr. would have been last.
He would have been last. Jaren Jackson would have been. He was last among the reserves. He would have been last. Larry Markkinen was last among the starters. He probably would have been last among the reserves too. But they were last. So that was the last guy, is Jaren Jackson. But I loved the format, like the format of them just like going back and forth. The TNT had some issues this weekend. There's a lot of stuff they tried to introduce and do. Like, you were talking about the players mic'd up. They tried to mic up Anthony Edwards before the game, and Adam Lefkoe was trying to interview him, and it didn't work, and it didn't work, and it didn't work. And then Lefkoe just kind of like cut it, and he was like, hey, let's not do this, because he's not getting any of our questions. And so that didn't work. They tried a bunch of other stuff, but like Shaq and Kenny and Ernie's mics, or Shaq and Kenny and Chuck's mics were coming through, and so it was just insane for the first like 2 minutes of the actual draft. But I loved it. I wish if you're gonna have those guys there, put them on the stage so that they can like laugh back and forth. You can get Ernie to throw to them at certain moments, to talk about, like, to respond to picks if a pick is ridiculous, or if Giannis drafts Ja and he can't draft Ja. Like a moment like that, you need to have those guys cut in, but they didn't have them on the stage.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I think if you're, if you're going to do the classic, blog article of 3 winners of the weekend, I think one of the winners of the weekend was the draft. Took a little bit of time. Luka even made a joke about it during the game. He's like, "Yeah, took a lot of time to do, but I thought it was a big winner for the weekend."
It was more fun. It was more fun than the actual game to actually do that. Coming up, let's talk about the game a little bit, and we'll talk about a quote Kyrie had. Kyrie talked about making a business decision for himself and that the Dallas Mavericks were a better business decision for him than Brooklyn. Why? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Nissan's most electric player of the week, brought to you by all new, all electric 2023 Nissan Ariya Stark. Just kidding. Just the Nissan Ariya. But I had, as soon as I saw Ariya, it's immediately what I thought. My Nissan player of the week is Kyrie. Kyrie for the Mavericks, 32 points, 15 assists in the All-Star game. Shot 50% from 3. I don't know if we're doing percentages in an All-Star game. But Kyrie set the record for Mavericks points in an All-Star game. Rolando Blackman in 1987 had 29 points in the All-Star game in 1987, which meant more then than it probably does now. But Kyrie set the record for a Maverick. So to me, he is the Nissan player of the week for the Dallas Mavericks. He is a player that, he's electric. You saw that layup package in the All-Star game. It was fun. It was brilliantly fierce, just like the 2023 Nissan Ariya. You can see all kinds of different things about the Nissan Ariya. Go check it out. It packs you to your seat power with premium intelligence, all in one EV. Go check it out. Shop now at nissanusa.com. All right, Isaac Harris. We were talking about the All-Star weekend, talking about the All-Star game. Loved the draft. Didn't like the game. The Elam ending was great. It has been great. The problem is you can't not care about the entire game leading up to the Elam ending, because then all of a sudden you're in a position where the Team LeBron that Luka and Kyrie were on have to score 40 points in a quarter in order to win the game, and the other team has to score 28 or something like that. It's just such a big difference.
Yeah, and, shocking. Elam ending is only good when it's close.
Yeah, or if you actually care about the first 3 quarters.
No matter how you end a game, it's only good if it's close.
And those quarters catch up to you because you just see the score reset. So what they do is they have each of the first 3 quarters kind of acts as their own. You start 0-0 at each one, and then you play timed, and then you get to the Elam ending. They add up all your score, and then they figure out what a target score needs to be. You have to score 20 points. The team that's leading has to score 20 more points or something like that, and the other team has to catch up. But that'll catch up to you as a team that's behind. If you lose 2 quarters by 5 or 6 or 7 or something, all of a sudden that's a 14-point deficit that didn't really look as bad in the other quarters. But so I think the Elam ending's fine. Leave the Elam ending. I think that. Any other changes that you would make to try and make this more competitive, I guess? Kyrie said he wants it to be a more competitive game, and he wants some kind of incentive that's not monetary for the players, something that you actually get. So I'm curious what he would think that would be. He didn't mention any ideas.
I bet he has theories.
I'm sure he does.
I don't have an answer.
Well, you can say anything.
No, I don't know what. I didn't expect this one of, hey, what should the incentive be?
No, not the incentive, but just before I asked, would you change anything? What should change about it, or what did you not like about it?
No, I don't think there's anything. I mean, you could tinker with stuff here and there, but you're playing a game that doesn't mean anything for the standings or for a championship. So it's players are naturally not going to try, for the most part, and you don't want to be the player that gets injured in a game.
I'm told they used to try though.
Yeah.
In the middle of the first quarter, Mike Bassett from 105.3 was I can't watch this anymore. I love basketball, but this is stupid. And I'm well, this is how all All-Star games start. Everyone that I've ever watched, the first beginning of it is just ridiculous, back and forth layups because nobody wants to really try. Then they kind of get into it a little bit, and then by the fourth quarter, they're actually trying. And this one just wasn't the case. You just didn't see any trying at all in it. But Bassett responded to me and said, go back and watch the 80s and 90s All-Star games. And those ones they actually tried. I don't know. Maybe they're built different. I don't know.
Built different. I mean, yeah, but no comment.
All right, we'll leave the All-Star game aside.
I was going to say something else, but
we'll leave the
Wasn't that the guy who didn't like Dorian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, many thoughts. Kyrie had an interesting quote over the weekend. and it was going around. It was the number one trending thing on Reddit. Every time I opened my phone and opened Reddit, I would just see Kyrie in this quote up at the top of NBA Reddit.
Your heart sinks.
Immediately, you're like, oh God. But I thought it was interesting from the Mavericks point of view. He was asked about, asking for a trade and why he demanded a trade and why all that. And he said, when did it become terrible to make great business decisions for yourself and your happiness and your peace of mind? Not every employer you're going to get along with. The speculation and narrative is what makes this entertaining, blah, 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 continues on. He's like, hey, this is my life, and this was a decision that I wanted to make. He was then asked about the quote from what he said about the Brooklyn front office at the end of last year, where he said, hey, me and Kevin and like Joe Harris and like them, we're gonna run this together. Like we're all gonna have input and run this together. From all the talk that from all the answers Kyrie gave over the weekend, it sounded like he did not get that respect or get that kind of say in roster building, and that it felt like he was lied to, I guess, from the Brooklyn front office. So then he mentions the Mavericks, and the reason why I bring this all up is he mentions the Mavericks in this and says, I'm really glad that Mark Cuban rang my phone, Nico Harrison rang my phone. Going into this next phase of my career, I'm glad that I get to be a part of this Mavericks team. What do you think about Kyrie making the business decision for himself? Why are the Mavericks a better business decision for him? And how is it going to be different?
Because they're built different. Also, I gotta say this. I'm pretty sure he meant Joe Tsai instead of Joe Harris, but I could be wrong.
You're so right. Joe Harris just came to my.
I don't know.
You're 100%
could have
right.
been Joe.
Why did I say Joe Harris instead of Joe Tsai? That's what it's 100% what he meant.
But no, I mean,
Joe.
It's all about the relationships, right? I mean, we even seen the clip of, I guess it was during practice, Mark walks up to Kyrie on the scorer's stanchion there. They're chopping it up. And, he has a relationship with Nico and all this. Like, we know all about the relationship ties with Dallas. So, and he said ever since he's, stepped foot in Dallas and got off the plane, he's felt welcomed. He's felt loved. Nico had a quote about, wanting Kyrie to be himself. That's what they're, if you're in the Mavericks right now, you're in a kind of a selling business too, of like, hey, we want you here. Like, they're not going to trade for him to not, have him here long term. And they're kind of, you're saying all the right things. You want Kyrie to be Kyrie if you're trying to convince him to stay there. And because, in Brooklyn, all the stuff that happened in Brooklyn, and he felt disrespected. Some of the stuff, the only stuff that we know is what we see reported on, what we see the quotes from. We don't know all the stuff behind the scenes, what could have happened, or promises broken and all that. But he obviously has some hard feelings and still has them towards Brooklyn, and he doesn't feel them in Dallas right now.
He's kind of giving a layout of what Dallas needs to do to keep him around, basically. And he's giving this sort of interesting, hey, it's got to be right. It's got to be right. You got to do what you say. It's got to be the right basketball situation for me. And if not, I'm going to make a better business decision for myself and try to go somewhere elsewhere. And he's going to keep doing that until it doesn't work for him anymore. Kevin Durant was kind of doing the same thing and requested a trade, and the Nets couldn't trade for him, or Nets couldn't trade him, and decided just to keep him until Kyrie made his trade demand. And then they're like, all right, well, might as well just not keep him and start this whole thing over. And so, like, it doesn't always work. And so until that runs out, I mean, I guess you empower Kyrie, right? And that's what the Mavericks are going to have to do now, is like, hey, we're going to have to make this right for you, make it work for you. And at a certain point, the Mavericks are at they're at the, what's the right word? They're not at the mercy of Kyrie, right? But they are in the Kyrie business now. And Kyrie is not going to just sit around, right? And just go through his contract and just have blind loyalty. Like, this is not Dirk. Like, this is very different what the Mavs are going to go through with this Kyrie contract. And I find it very interesting. But I did like that he mentioned, I've talked to Mark Cuban, I've talked to Nico Harrison. It seems like they're all on the same page about this. And I do think the Mavericks will have him, have a say in like front office stuff in a way that Brooklyn wouldn't, because Brooklyn only signed up for Kyrie because they wanted Kevin Durant. There was a package deal. They didn't like sign up for the Kyrie thing. The Mavericks are signing up for the Kyrie thing, right? They are. Yeah. And I think that's a very big difference, along with the Nico Harrison relationships that we've talked about for seems like weeks now. It's been 2 weeks since the trade, actually. But since we've talked about for weeks, the relationship that Nico has with him and that the Mavericks are signing up for the Kyrie experience, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing in the end.
And as long as this thing doesn't crash and burn over the next few months, and there's off the court stuff, there's some tension,
something comes up,
Luka, or something. If this thing rides itself out, they continue playing well, and Kyrie helps them get into the playoffs, and they win a round or two, something like that. Kyrie's probably going to get a max contract from the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah,
and I mean that's what I think will happen, and because if you're Dallas, that's going to be your selling point, right? It's going to be here's the full max contract, which I know for some Mavs fans right now, you're probably like holding your breath, whatever. But like, you also just watched 2 Dallas Mavericks start the All-Star game. 2 of the 10 players on the floor was Dallas Mavericks. So
now one of them was the Utah Jazz, but
I think Mark Cuban, Nico Harrison, they make that trade with the mindset and the relationships and everything of saying, all right, yeah, you can test the markets this summer and test the LeBron and KD market, but we're going to be offering you the full max contract, the business stuff, and all of that. So
coming up, let's talk about the rest of all.
That's just a prediction. That's not anything. Yeah, there's nothing behind that. That's just prediction there. No. Take away that drop.
Coming up, we'll talk about the rest of All-Star Weekend. Who won the weekend? And what would we change? What do we like? What do we dislike about All-Star Weekend? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Built Bar. It's a protein bar. Tastes like a candy bar. They're delicious. I eat them all the time. The Brownie Batter Puff is my favorite one. They also have a bunch of different flavors as well. The Maple Donut is available right now. 150 calories, 17 grams of protein, 6 grams of sugar in a bar covered in 100% chocolate. They have other unbelievable flavors as well. Go and check them out right now. You have them available at your local Walmart, your Sam's Club. Isaac, you've picked them up at a Sam's Club in DFW, and so you can get those if you're in DFW. You can go find them right now. Go check it out. They're also at built.com. You can try the Locked 15 or the Locked On promo codes, see if those still work for you. Go check out Built and see what all they have to offer for you. And again, great protein bars, taste like a candy bar, low calories, high protein, and they're also really high in taste as well. The puffs are really different. So if you're going to do a variety box, try and mix it up. Try different ones, see which ones you like. I don't really like the regular bars as much, but I love the puffs. And some people are the opposite. So go check it out. It's built.com. All right, Isaac Harris. Let's talk about the rest of All-Star Weekend because I thought it was an interesting weekend. I did not watch a single second of the Rising Stars game, but I did watch all of All-Star Saturday Night with you. It's just a thing that I love to watch, the full thing. I like to watch all the different competitions. The dunk contest always gets me every single year, the 3-point. But I think McClung won the weekend.
Somebody asked me today, they don't watch much NBA. They asked me at church, they're like, man, this McClung kid, is he like the next star?
Yeah.
Well, no, he's only played in less than 10 NBA games.
4.
And I tried to explain to him like how we've known McClung, and I'm like, dude, he's kind of like, the Instagram dunker.
He was like Zion if Zion wasn't good.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, he's putting on these nasty dunks, and Georgetown Tech, all that, and Philly. I joked on the spot saying that Philly made the PR move by signing him right before.
Hey, they have the picture now all time of a great dunk contest from him. Like definitely had threw down 4 great dunks that were all worth their merit and all that, all the praise he's getting. They got the picture of Dr. J, a Philly all-time Sixers legend, handing the trophy that's named after him to McClung in a Sixers jersey. So I think it was worth it. I think it was worth it calling him up.
Are there Mac jerseys that's selling right now? I'd like to know that.
All right. Tell me what you thought about Mac's dunks, though.
No, I mean, like you said, we watched it together. We ate some good queso.
Yeah, we did.
And some good little sliders, and just enjoyed it the whole weekend or the whole Saturday night thing.
I think you can only get a custom, like you have to put the name on the back of it.
Missed opportunity there. But no, I mean, yeah, he should have won it, man. I mean, the underrated part of all of it. Yeah. But like the underrated part of all of it is he hit it, he hit the dunk on the first try. And all of his dunks there. That's the most underrated part of this. And I was surprised by Trey Murphy. Just seeing it. I mean,
he was solid. Like Trey Murphy was solid, and you can't he was hitting singles, and McClung was hitting home runs, right? Like you can't,
every time.
Can't just keep hitting singles, but he did because he lasted through. I want to talk about Jericho Sims because Jericho Sims threw down maybe one of the worst dunks we've ever seen with the elbow in the rim, and then tries to pull the piece of paper off that's clipped to the net after the dunk, not even on the way up, and then opens it and it rips, and it's a 50 in there. What's worse?
My guy had a Hallmark card on the net, and then he couldn't open it up with the sticker
clipped with like an office clip. What's worse, that dunk or that slam dunk showing? Because he only got 2 dunks, and they're both basically the same thing. Like he basically did the same thing. What's worse, that or Kevin Huerter with 8 points in a 3-point shootout that has 2 balls are worth 3, and like a whole rack you get now that's worth 2 each. Like that is a Kevin Hart when he and Draymond went against each other in this a couple years ago. Have you ever seen that video with Kevin Hart going against Draymond Green, and Kevin Hart beats Draymond? Kevin Hart had more points than Kevin Huerter. Like, is Kevin Hart the better Kevin shooter?
My theory is
Kevin Durant, Kevin Hart, Kevin Huerter. Like, that's the Kevin McHale.
Kevin Harlan, right?
Kevin Harlan, Kevin McHale.
My theory is Huerter has looked at the beam too long, and it's like it's hurt his eyesight. I'm running with it right now.
That was an all-time bad round, like from a really good shooter. Like, it's not like he's a bad shooter, but to do worse than what Julius Randle did was kind of wild to me.
Yeah, we were fascinating over Halliburton's shot. It's like
it's just different. You so see weird. It in games, but to watch it over and over and over again on a 3-point just makes it stand out so much more. He doesn't so you're supposed to, they tell you, right, to have your hand like under the ball like a plate, right? You're supposed to like put it like a plate. And instead, he has his thumb kind of under the ball, and he flicks the ball with his thumb and like his first finger, and it spins not like frontwards. It doesn't spin like or a back spin. It doesn't spin back straight. It spins like side like around sideways. It's so strange, but he had 31 in one round, so it works for him.
Yeah. I'll say another for just tossing out winners of the weekend. I think Draymond's a winner. I think Draymond's incredible on TV. He's so good. It was so weird. It's so awkward with him interviewing Ja about the West.
That wasn't awkward. That was amazing. I thought that was great.
No. I'm saying it's awkward because you just don't see it very often. Like current player of a West team interviewing him about the West, and it's like this like weird like you're still playing, but it's like
he looked at Draymond Green looked at John Morant and said, "You're still fine in the West." He plays in the West. His team just won the championship last year, and he's asking him that. And Ja like kind of walked around it, and it's like, I'm still fine in the West. Like, all right. He did mention the Suns.
No way.
With Kevin Durant now. But loser of the weekend for this. I talked about that Kyrie is was the Nissan Electric player of the week for the Mavs, but loser because Kyrie tried to throw 2 lobs to Jokic in the All-Star game.
Going off the backboard is hilarious.
It's got to be such a pinpoint perfect like lob for Jokic to be able to get that, even though he's 7 feet. Oh man, that's a loser to me, just because of that.
A winner, Janelle Monáe. She's incredible.
Woof.
She did great in the celebrity game. That's what I mean.
Yeah, right. Correct. I got another loser.
Uh-oh.
You're gonna love this one.
I'm ready. LeBron's hand.
During the draft, Kyrie gets picked, and then number 3 among the All-Star starter, or number 5 among the All-Star starters.
I'm gonna go with Luka Doncic. I'm gonna go with Luka Doncic.
LeBron with the teed up, I'm going to make a fake Luka Doncic joke.
He thought he was so cool doing that joke. And I'm like, did you watch halftime? Because I didn't.
That made me laugh so hard when he said Luka, when he started with Luka, because I knew what he was going for. That's such an, I wonder if casual fans even know like what that just thought maybe he messed up and didn't even realize. So there's like so many levels to this because you have to be an insane NBA person that like you probably listened to this, knew the Luka Doncic thing. We've joked about it before, but like a casual NBA person probably doesn't know what that means. And so just thought he messed up. But then if you know what that reference is, you know that he set it up and tried it on purpose. So you know how corny it is that he tried it, right? Like there's so many layers to how funny that is.
I'm going to go with Luka Doncic.
Yeah, the halftime show started off with a young dance team dancing as Karl Malone, like, kind of came out of the smoke. And I was like, I think I'm going to turn it off now, and I'm going to go watch something else on my TV.
We didn't need that. And then LeBron got honored for passing. And then they had LeBron and Kareem. They had LeBron and Kareem up there, which I thought was great to see those two guys. And that represents what, like 80,000 points.
Yeah, that's
70,000 points total.
I'm bummed I missed
but
that.
the halftime show of like Thames and Burna Boy, like that was an incredible halftime show.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah.
I love that. That was great.
I'll watch that 5 times more than I watched LeBron.
The weird like Post Malone 21 Savage pre-game show after the draft and like between the draft and the game was kind of weird. That's like a weird spot to put somebody in. That's
no. It's not as weird as Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel was a loser. Vin Diesel was a loser of the weekend because he was like, "I'm here to introduce the All-Star," and then he didn't. He didn't introduce anybody.
Yeah, and then he said something at the end of, "This is when a star becomes a legend." I'm like, who? Who's going to become Mac McClung?
Hey, you know which stars become legends in the All-Star game?
Who?
Fergie.
Okay, that's true.
She was a star that became a legend. She will forever be known for the national anthem.
Every time I hear a national anthem now, I think.
So is that still your highest tweet ever?
Yeah, but I deleted it back in the day, so
yeah,
it's gone. It's gone. But Anthony Edwards being first pick by LeBron, that's kind of a win.
Are you worried about tampering?
No, I mean LeBron can just like look at somebody and people's making Lakers photoshops.
Are you worried about Luka and Kyrie both being LeBron picks? Luka's been a LeBron pick every year, right?
I do thoroughly enjoy the LeBron, the GM, man. He's so good. I'm like, bro, he just traded for Russell Westbrook and it went down in flames. All right.
Well, he lost this game too, so
he's great at being a fantasy GM, but not a real life GM.
Well, he had won the last couple games of this, and he had most of the MVP candidates on his team in this one. He just so happened that Tatum and Donovan Mitchell decided to try really hard in this All-Star game.
Yeah, well, they had to. Yeah, Tatum knew a Tatum 1 from Jordan.
Another week. Yeah, the Tatum 1 looks nice. I like it.
I do too.
Another funny moment of the weekend, a winner was Luka, and Luka was standing in a line and Kyrie was standing next to him, and Jokic was walking down the line. There was like kids in the line and a bunch of other stuff, and Jokic is giving out high fives, and then Jokic went to Luka and then he missed him on purpose, and then Luka's hand is still up and he just looks over. Kyrie gave him the high five, and there you go. That's teamwork, guys. That's how they work together as a team.
Yep.
That's showing what's going to happen the rest of this Maverick season. But for the rest of this week, we will be here. Episodes 5 days a week. We'll be talking about big questions tomorrow, going through the rest of the season. We'll be asking for your questions as well. And then Spurs on Thursday. Mavs are back. Mavs are back on Thursday. It's been a little bit, but we'll be back. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom!